Of day 38 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry, Tranche 2, Phase 2. We've been listening to the live evidence of HN115, a Detective Chief Inspector Tony Waite, who was a manager of the SDS. I'm joined again by Donal of the Undercover Research Group. We've been hearing more from Tony about basically how he didn't follow the guidelines mostly. That seems to be the main issue.
It's been quite amazing. I know the evidence is really slow and sometimes painful. I think calling it live is probably an abuse of the word. But yeah, so Barr's been taking him, but the government said this, these are the guidelines, these are your reports, which show that you were spying on CND, you were spying on the trade unions, even though the official guidelines said not to. And he went, yeah, I guess we must have been doing.
Yeah.
So
probably. That's what you used the word probably. The word probably has done a lot of heavy lifting today.
Well, apparently he can't remember anything, so Barr's putting things to him. So yeah, that's probably true. I couldn't get. It's almost a way out. I can't guarantee it, but it's probably true. Who knows? It's just not as if he even cares by the looks of it.
Yeah, we finally have had actually some looking at the miners' strike, which I always figured years ago when this inquiry was called was going to be a much major issue than it's turned out to be. It seems very clear they were spying on trade unionists just for organising collections of money at supermarkets, basically.
Yeah, and there's one report which Barr drew the attention to. It's just simply that. It's like, he says, but you're not meant to be, reporting on this stuff. Is this subversive? No. Is this criminal? No. No, probably. There's none of the others like, it shows mood or anything. He kind of just accepts it and moves on, but while admitting they were actively spying. And everybody says that the detective chief inspector who heads of the unit has the last say on what gets disseminated, and he keeps going, I just left it to others. So nobody is taking responsibility anywhere along the line. What's reported is like, if I can shove, in his case, he's shoving the blame towards MI5.
Yeah, he has a certain section, like collection of words. Is like, by and large, we pass the information on to security services to make of it what they will. That was his stance.
Yeah. So this is like the undercover say, well, management would have taken out. Managers are going, well, we didn't know either. So it goes on. But this is a guy who also went on to head up C Squad, who at that time would have been the main customer. That's the first thing. But he's not able to, nobody anywhere along the line is admitting to the fact that this possibly wasn't, valuable or important or even lawful. It's just a constant passing the buck. Nobody. It's like you got this massive secret service organization, and nobody is taking any responsibility for what they're doing. It's like, was there anybody at the tiller guiding this? This appears not.
There's even sections where it's shown, this is a letter that was sent to you about guidance for how you should collect information, what you shouldn't collect. And he goes, but we ignored that. We just carried on the way we always had and let the security services sort it out.
That letter is quite amazing. That was the bit in the whole morning I was like, okay, I need to wake up now. They're given clear guidance, and they throw it out for the SDS. The SDS clearly don't know it, but the presumption is the whole special branch essentially ignored what the political masters. It shows you essentially special branch is a rogue organisation. It's getting all this money to do stuff. So either it's been tacitly told, we're going to put this in writing, but we're not going to say anything if you continue doing it, in which case there's malfeasance going on somewhere. It's like, this is not right. Or special branch managers are simply out of control, because this is not just about the undercovers. This is all the way up to Metropolitan Police, all the people who would have been in receipt of that, tacitly turning a blind eye to it. In fact, not tacitly, openly turning a blind eye, and nobody calling them out. This is political corruption, and trying to find a way. It's like, it's not corruption in they're personally benefiting it, but ideologically, this is what they're all about. They hate the trade unions. They hate anything on the left, and so when something along comes in conveniently, we'll be corrupt about this.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw quite a few notes from the security services of meetings that security services management had with Tony Waite, where he's painted to be like, anything I can do for you, sir. Whatever you want me to do, sir. Do you want me to infiltrate this group or that group? What do you want me to do? We're starting to see that relationship between the SDS and the security services is I mean, it's much, much stronger than we ever used to think. And I mean, like, this really sort of confirms that essentially, never mind what the guidance said, never mind what the law said. If the security services wanted something, even if they didn't, but they might do, he was willing to do it.
I think it's a case of, I think it's a mutual back scratching thing. It's like, it allows them to say, oh, well, MI5 told us and MI5 are untouchable. But it doesn't, and it depends on which manager at which point, because of how good relationships others really didn't like them and thought, we don't like being their little errand boys. We're an important organisation in its own right. But it also shows that they were hearing what they wanted to hear. And some of them, like Waite, are clearly, MI5, the darlings. Others are like a bit more standoffish. Waite, it's like, what management did you do? It's just like they told you what to do and you just nodded and you did everything you did. Where's the management decisions? Where's the evidence you actually did anything as head of the unit? Because can't quite see it at this point, and it's you're hearing what you want to hear and it's convenient.
Yeah, absolutely. We got onto a bit about animal rights, and there was quite an interesting section where it was suggested that because animal rights activists were moving away from traditional forms of demonstrating, and it was less of a public order issue, that in fact the criminal intelligence branch or criminal intelligence unit would take over animal rights from special branch, because obviously, the SDS was a purely intelligence organisation. They weren't there to prosecute crimes, whereas criminal intelligence could, gather intelligence and prosecute crimes. And he said, but yeah, by and large, they were moving away from public order. It was less of a public order issue. And then it said, well, why wasn't it passed over as a criminal intelligence? Oh, well, it was still a public order issue. And it was obvious that the special branch were like, and we've seen this a few times, this idea that the animal rights field, we saw it like one report where, I can't remember where it was from, where they talked about like, the SDS has supremacy in the animal rights field. Animal rights is an area where the MI5 don't infiltrate. We do that. It's our area. And they obviously, when criminal intelligence came along, went, well, they're committing crimes. We should do that. No, we're going to keep that. That's going to be our own little fiefdom. None of that really added up with his answers.
So I think there's two things there. One is like it's not long after this that Special Branch loses control of Irish matters, or, investigations in Northern Ireland. So it's like they're keen to hold on to their fiefdom and resources. But the other, I think this is a really important aspect. It's like intelligence for intelligence gathering sake, rather than actual committing a crime. And they're going to say, well, we had special branches, Arnie therefore had all the intelligence, but it came really clear in Andy Cole's evidence and Bob Lambert, but also Rayner's last week, is like they were gathering all this intelligence, but they weren't able to do anything with it. In fact, going back to Cole's, a bunch of people who pretty much admitted to doing something were let off because they wouldn't expose Coles had some prior knowledge of this particular animal rights cell and animal liberation cell, and it's like they can't square that circle, and Barr I think is good to pick up on. It's something that is screaming obvious. It's like you do all this intelligence gathering, it's not going to MI5. Where is it going? Because you're actively undermining your own policing purpose. So it's really interesting that he said, oh no, we needed to keep it, because you're saying the intelligence is more important than solving crime. Therefore you've just walked into the black hole of intelligence for gathering intelligence for its own sake, and so it makes it doubly egregious their behaviour, and he's pretty abusive under his watch, that there was no actual policing purpose because they could never use it.
Yeah, and we saw this really kind of come up again with Bob Lambert when the prosecution of Andrew Clark and Jeff Shepherd for the Debenham stuff, and it's like his information was going to be used in the criminal trial, and like trying to square in that circle and how complicated and difficult that was. There's a lot of questioning of Lambert around that, and I mean, you can see that tension starts with this decision to keep animal rights in house with the SDS.
Yeah, no, very, very much so. It's the one bit where, because they don't have a subversion, public order isn't really that big a thing, because even though doesn't mean there wasn't demonstrations going on, but simply intelligence has to be for a purpose, and this continues all the way through into the 2000s, that they can never square the circle, even with the environmentalists, and is in the the stuff later stuff that it's like it's lost its moral, the unit loses its moral compass because no one is ever looking at the intelligence holistically and going, actually, why are you doing this? What is this? There's no real oversight because everything has to be buried for security. Security of the unit is paramount to the point the unit has no effective guidance on what it can and cannot do because you could always... It's a national security card. It's security. We can't do it. We can't do it. This is really super secure, but no one's going, well, what's the national security issue here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that circular logic, right? And it's the same circular logic we heard about earlier when they were talking about police monitoring and police accountability. It's like kind of, well, we have to keep an eye on them because they want the police to be accountable. Or what's wrong with that? Well, we're the police. We don't want to be accountable. That's kind of it.
But this circular thing is a classic case of management who have no idea what they're doing. They are simply in motion. Time and time again, we just did what other previous managers did. And it's like, not one of these very, very well-paid officers actually goes, maybe we should consider the value of what we're doing. They're all actually opposed to this. They all have got a nice little job, getting a well-paid package, doing this thing that looks good, but reality achieves nothing or very little. And they're getting paid. They should give the money back. They've just been squandering loads and loads of our taxes on basically a nice little cushy job.
Yeah, it seems remarkably cushy. I mean, we saw that particularly. There was a lot of stuff about CND and the infiltration of CND, and it's like, nobody wants this information. It's like we've been told not to infiltrate CND. We've been told there's no subversive element, there's no public order interest in doing so. You continue to do it. Why are you continuing to do it? It's like, well, we wanted to.
Well, that was another very interesting line of questioning. Sorry, I've forgotten about that one. It's just like, we weren't really reporting on CND. It was kind of like other people were reporting on other groups, and it's like bars like, but you had somebody specifically in CND. In fact, there was 2 people in CND.
Yeah. Well, 3 in total.
But we can't seem to get that point. It's like on your watch, you actively put people in CND. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. The documents are there. So he's doing the same thing as all the others, trying to dodge around the point, but he's just walking straight into them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, particularly with HN88, cover name Timothy Spence, who infiltrated Hackney CND. There's this idea that somehow he was infiltrating Hackney and Stoke Newington as an area. And he was infiltrating all sorts of groups. But we see from the reports that it's his role in CND that is the pertinent one. That's the one that's brought up. So, we've got someone in CND, and it's HN88. It's just not credible, the answers.
But it also just lets into something that it's never really been clearly defined, that they were sending people in to areas. They didn't have target groups. It's like you see it in a bunch of other witness statements where it's like, I go to this area and I stumble across this group, and then I ask my managers if they were investigating because I've gotten in. So they're actively looking at areas rather than being, you need to do. Someone told they go to SWP or RCP or whatever. But others are just like, your job is Hackney. Yeah. So Hackney is a criminal enterprise. There are political activists in Hackney. Shock horror.
Well, he described Hackney and Stoke Newington as a threat. The area itself is a threat.
I'd be quite pleased if I was Hackney and Stoke Newington, frankly. But that's how they perceive me, and you can see it's like there's West London, Brompton and West London, Camden, Hackney and Southwark. It's like, well, keep sending people into these areas because they're clearly, dangerous areas full of left-wing subversives. It's like, what a Cold War mentality. These whole areas have been taken over by the left. We must... It's the famous anecdote about how do you know somebody was, subversive. Well, they were reading the Daily Mirror. It's like where are the places where Daily Mirror sales are the highest? Okay, it's Hackney. The whole area is a threat.
No, it's utterly farcical. I mean, was there anything else I've missed? I think we've covered pretty much all the things he said. Yeah, anything else you want to add?
It's going to be a long 2 days. I think it might actually be more. It's clear he's not that well, so I think they're going to try and get what they can out of him.
Yeah, I can't imagine us going late tonight because I don't think that Tony Waite could cope with a long sitting. I mean, he's certainly struggling already. I'll do another video in the afternoon break. I might do another one during lunch if I can get someone else to come on the video with me, but there's a shortage of people here. Obviously, the former managers are of less interest than the former undercover officers themselves, who obviously get much more interest. But thanks for joining. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, managers are really interesting. Do not underestimate how important they are to the whole thing.
Rest assured, the Undercover Research Group is fully laser focused on the managers, even if the rest of us aren't. All right, thanks for joining. See you all later.